Hello everyone, and thank you for watching. Today I'm talking about Operation Gunnerside, the Norwegian attack on heavy water that would end up depriving the Nazis from having the atomic bomb. After handing their suicide capsules, Norwegian Royal Army Colonel Leif Tronstad informed his soldiers, quote, "I cannot tell you why this mission is so important, but if you succeed, it will live in Norway's memory for 100 years. These commandos did know, however, that an earlier attempt at the same mission by British soldiers had been a complete failure. Two gliders transporting the men had both crashed while en route to their target, and the survivors were quickly captured by German soldiers, tortured, and then executed. If similarly captured, these Norwegians could expect the same fate as their British counterparts, hence the reason for the suicide pills. While people tend to associate the United States atomic bomb efforts with Japan and the war in the Pacific, the Manhattan Project, the American program to produce an atomic bomb, was actually undertaken in reaction to Allied suspicions that the Germans were actively pursuing such a weapon. Yet the fighting in Europe ended before either side had a working atomic bomb. In fact, a rehearsal for Trinity, America's first atomic bomb test detonation, would be conducted on May 7th of 1945, the very day that Germany would surrender. So the US atomic bomb arrived weeks too late for use against Germany. Nevertheless, had the Germans developed their own bomb just a few months earlier, the outcome of the war in Europe may have been completely different. The months of setback caused by the Norwegian sabotage of the Vemork chemical plant may very well have prevented German victory. What Colonel Tronstad himself, a pre-war chemistry professor, was able to tell his men was that Vemork chemical plant made heavy water, an important ingredient for the Germans' weapons research. Beyond that, the Norwegian troops knew nothing of atomic bombs or how the heavy water was actually used. Even today, when many people have at least a rudimentary understanding of atomic bombs and know that the source of their vast energy is the splitting of atoms, few have any idea what heavy water is or its role in splitting those atoms. Still, fewer know even why the German nuclear scientists needed it, while the Americans did not. In terms of their chemistries, heavy water and normal water behave very similarly, and you wouldn't detect any differences in your own cooking, drinking, or bathing if heavy water were to suddenly begin coming out of your tap. But you would notice that ice cubes made from heavy water sink rather than float when you put them in a glass of normal drinking water because of their increased density. Those differences are subtle, but there's something else that heavy water does that normal water can't. When fast neutrons released by the splitting of atoms pass through heavy water, interactions with heavy water molecules cause those neutrons to slow down or moderate. This is important because slowly moving neutrons are more efficient at splitting uranium atoms than fast-moving neutrons. And since neutrons traveling through heavy water split atoms more efficiently, less uranium would be needed to achieve a critical mass. That's the minimum amount of uranium required to start a spontaneous chain reaction of atoms splitting in rapid succession. It is this chain reaction within the critical mass that releases explosive energy of the atomic bomb. And that's why the Germans needed heavy water. Their strategy for producing an atomic explosion depended on it. However, American scientists, in contrast, had chosen a different approach to achieve a critical mass. The United States atomic bomb effort had actually used enriched uranium that had an increased concentration of the easily split uranium-235, while the Germans used unenriched uranium. The Americans choose to slow the neutrons emitted from their enriched uranium with more readily available graphite, rather than the use of heavy water. Each approach would have its technological trade-offs, but the United States approach did not rely on having to synthesize the extremely scarce heavy water. Its rarity would make heavy water the Achilles heel of the German nuclear bomb program. Thanks for watching. Be sure you're subscribed with your notifications turned on and that you leave a comment and a like in this video, and I'll bring you more great videos in the future. I'll see you next time.